Hey everybody, Soybean Farmer here. Well, January 25th, Christmas Day. So, Merry Christmas to everybody. Uh, Merry Christmas. Hope everybody's having a really nice day and able to gather with your family and your friends and enjoy a really good meal. Me, my family's coming over tonight about 6 o'clock. Mrs. Soybean Farmer is in the house cooking up a big old feast for us to enjoy tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also enjoying a day off from the cigar shop. And I'm back to working on this lamp replacement. Got a little deeper into this than I thought I was going to get. I thought it was just going to be swap these out. But the wiring on this tractor is shot. It's brittle. The insulation on places you just touch it, give it a little twist, and it just crumbles in your hand. So what I've decided to do is complete rewire. And I knew that their so-called wiring harness came down under here, right there. Hits into that connector right there. Move my ratchet out of the way. And from this connector out through here, that side for whatever's going to be over there, and this side here, out through here, and but I was curious. I couldn't remember. I'd been under here once before a long time ago, and I could not remember. Right down here is the temperature sensor for the, call it hydraulic oil or the rear end oil, but that sensor through these wires comes back up here to that gauge there to, or is it, yeah, that gauge there to tell you what the temperature of this oil's doing. There's a cooler up here at the front, and if it gets clogged up with dust and you don't keep it cleaned out, this oil gets way too hot. But anyhow, it worked out perfect. Those wires for that sensor are here, and all the lights go through this connector here. And what I've made up my mind to do, and I'm so glad I did because I found something in here that really bugged me. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to disconnect this connector, and all of that wire is coming off this tractor and going into scrap pile, which is basically going to the trash pile because I don't want it. It's junk, it's garbage. From this connector here back up to this switch, and it turned out this switch is intermittent. It's set out in the weather or too many years or whatever, but it works like 1 out of 10 times, and then you got to wiggle it to get it in the little spot. Of course, if you're out there bouncing across the field with the tractor and the switch bounces, your lights go out. So I'm not going to put up with that. I'm going to have it set up so when I flip a switch, the lights stay on until I flip the switch to turn them off. That's what I'm going to have. But I made up my mind to that. So I pulled this floor plate off, and if you've ever pulled a floor plate off of a 4020, it's a puzzle. Now with the tractor turned off and the hydraulic pressure down, the brake pedals move like that, and you need to get them to move like that so you can get them forward, because that foot pedal comes right up in here, and if you don't get these pedals forward, you can't slide this plate forward to lift it up enough to clear that knob. Yep, that knob. And you got about a 1/16 of an inch clearance after you wiggle it and twist it just right. Now, the trick on the other side is you got to either have your good cousin come over, because even with this spring disconnected, there is still tension on that clutch pedal. What I got away with this time was the bungee cord hooked right here, pulled it all the way up here to this front hole here and hooked it, jumped back real quick and make sure it wasn't going to fly off and hit me, and it held it. So I was actually able to get that foot plate out of here, and it's sitting over there with all the other little panels I've taken off. And as usual, full of dirt and dust. Well, the reason that I am so glad I pulled this apart so I could take a look at these wires and get a remembrance on that, I found something that I didn't see the first time I was in here. Evidently it was so covered up with dust. This cover plate right here lets you get down into the transmission. I took this bolt out because that bolt and that bolt were missing, and it was all wet in here as I kept scraping dust and dirt and using this shop vac here to clean it up here. I got me a nail and kept jabbing it down in there to get the dust to break loose, and then sticking the vacuum cleaner in there, and I got the dust and dirt out of there. And I took this bolt out and screwed it down in there, and I've got it cleaned out. Now I got to go find 2 bolts that size so I can get them back in here, because it's leaking. You can see the dark stuff here. That's where the oil's been sloshing out of there. So now that I've got that foot cover plate out of here, I'll make sure I get these bolts back in here. But anyhow, I just thought I'd give y'all a little update where I'm at. Pull this connector loose. As you can see, me yanking that, it comes up in here. And it's a mess up in there. There's nothing there I want to save. I'm just going to yank it all completely out and throw it away. And I'm fortunate that I'll be able to do that. This switch, like I said, is intermittent, and the screw that holds the knob on, well, it's rust welded itself into the switch. I haven't done it yet, but about the only way I see of getting this off is to break it. And I priced all this stuff out at John Deere. Just for that knob, they want $15, and for that rotary switch, multi-position rotary switch that's up in here, you want $38. I ain't paying that. So what I'm going to do is use this hole and drill a few more holes in here, and I'm probably going to end up with 3 what you call rocker switches, because what I want to end up with totally, these 4 lights, 2 here, 2 over there, the LED lamps pull 18 watts. These that are in here pull 35 watts. So with such a major power consumption reduction, I can put all 4 of those on one switch. And I'm going to want them on. You want as much light as you can get when you're out there working at night. Now I've got a light bar that I want to put. I found the bolts that'll go in these holes here, and I want to come out and up a little bit and put a light bar right here. And haven't made up my mind whether to put it on a separate switch. The light bar itself does pull 35 watts. It's going to be nice. And I've got some more LED lights exactly like these that I put on the little Ford. These are wonderful. That's a combination spot flood, so it's awesome. But I've got 2 more of these, and I want to replace, I had these 2 back here to where I could put a little bit of candle light. That's about all they would do on whatever implement I was pulling. But when I put those here, it'll be daytime back here, because I already know what those do, and they're great. So anyhow, thought I'd give you a little update where I'm at with this project. It's about 40 degrees out here, and I'm a southern boy, so I don't deal with cold weather real well. So I'm having to work a little bit and then dart into the little shop over here where I've got heat, warm my hands back up a little bit. But I'll get it done. Got plenty of time. This new looking wire snaked in through here was where I got fed up with intermittent ground over here, and that was a problem when we moved these fenders. They're relying on this metal being real tight contact with that metal. They're bringing the ground back through. That was in the original wiring of the tractor, and I ain't having that. I'm just going to be sure and I pull a separate ground wire. That I took that to make sure it was grounded properly, brought it all the way back here to the ground post on the battery. That battery's been a good battery. I got a charger on it because Well, actually the vacuum cleaner's plugged in, the charger's not plugged in, but it's still reading a pretty good indication on that battery. But I've been charging on it just a little bit today. When you don't run a tractor and it sits, your batteries go down. Well, everybody, I want to thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, watching my videos. And again, Merry Christmas to everybody. Peace, joy, and happiness. Thank you. Bye, y'all.